Everybody vibes with the all-new Camry. A standard 225-horsepower engine and an available sport-tuned suspension provide the power and agility to take you anywhere. And to do it in style. With available features like the two-tone midnight black metallic roof, color-matched sport grille, panoramic glass roof, and cockpit red leather trimmed interior, the Camry has never looked better. And because every all-new Camry is a hybrid, it delivers up to an EPA-estimated 51 miles per gallon combined. Whatever your vibe, it's a Camry vibe. Learn more at toyota.com/Camry. Before we get started, a warning that this episode mentions sexual assault and exploitation. Hello, from Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month, we're talking about adversaries, women who fought for their place in history. Whether they fought to get to the top of their sport, against how society perceived them, or fought with each other to be champions, we're talking about women who broke barriers and sometimes did seemingly impossible or unspeakable things to carve out their place in history. Like the barrier breakers we're covering throughout the month, our partners at Camry are inspiring women to seek knowledge, creativity, joy, and experiences that will continue to push boundaries. Today we're talking about a notorious woman who put women's wrestling on the map. She clawed her way to the top of the heap, using any means necessary to beat her opponents and get the glory. Let's talk about the world of wrestling's ultimate adversary, the fabulous Moolah. The fabulous Moolah was born Mary Lillian Ellison in 1923. She grew up in South Carolina and was the youngest of 5 children. When Lillian, as she was called, was only 8 years old, her mother died. Lillian would often find comfort in going to local wrestling matches with her father. She loved to watch the female wrestlers, especially all-star Mildred Burke. Lillian was blown away by their bravado and athleticism. When Lillian was just 14 years old, she married a man 7 years her senior. With him, she had her daughter, but the marriage quickly dissolved after the baby was born. Now on her own, Lillian decided to pursue her childhood dream. She would become a professional female wrestler. First, Lillian tracked down her idol, Mildred Burke, and Mildred's husband, Billy Wolfe. The couple worked together and were the top promoters in women's wrestling at the time. Billy was initially taken aback by how small Lillian was, but eventually, Lillian convinced him to train her. It was far from easy. Billy was notorious for trying to exploit the women he trained for sexual favors. Lillian refused his advances, and in retaliation, he didn't work as hard to get her bookings. At first, Lillian couldn't find her groove, losing match after match. She realized she needed to get away from Billy Wolfe and find someone who would take her seriously. Eventually, she struck up a relationship with a promoter named Jack Pfeffer. Jack gave her a job, but it wasn't ideal. Lillian was cast as an accessory to a few male wrestlers, including Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Lillian took on the moniker Slave Girl Moolah. She accompanied the wrestlers to the ring and served as eye candy for audiences. Jack was actually the one who gave Lillian the alter ego Moolah. As she later recalled, when Jack asked her why she was wrestling, she blurted out, "For the money. I want to wrestle for the moolah." Buddy and Moolah's relationship evolved from a working one to a romantic one. The two moved to Columbia, South Carolina with a goal: start a wrestling school for women. Sadly, Moolah subjected the women she trained to the same kinds of exploitation that she'd dealt with. She policed the way her employees looked and was controlling about their time. She also forced them to rent apartments on her property at exorbitant prices and to sign contracts that further diverted large portions of their pay to her. Even worse, there were allegations of forced sex, drug use, and theft. Despite all that, Moolah's training business became increasingly successful. But she missed being in the ring, and she missed the spotlight. In 1956, she got her big break. That year, the reigning women's champ retired from wrestling. That left a vacant spot to be filled. Vince McMahon decided to stage a 13-woman battle royale in order to determine the next women's champion. And Moolah, redubbed by Vince as the Fabulous Moolah, stole the crown. Moolah's approach to wrestling was to do anything that worked. That meant eye gouging, hair pulling, kicking, biting, and lots of other sneaky tricks. Even though she didn't exactly play by the book, her strategy was effective. Moolah kept the champion title for nearly 28 years. Although technically she did lose a few times over that time period, she was a force to be reckoned with. No one got an edge on her for more than a few weeks.
Fabulous Moolah to defend the ladies' crown against
But in the 1980s, the tables turned. Wendy Richter, a former Moolah student, emerged as the new queen of wrestling. In a match broadcast live on MTV, Wendy pinned Moolah to the floor and took the champion title for herself, ending Moolah's decades-long reign. Later, Moolah used the politics and inner workings of the WWE to get back at Wendy, orchestrating one of the most infamous screw jobs in wrestling history. As part of her scheme, Moolah returned to the ring to fight Wendy again. This time, she was in a mask, her real identity hidden.
Bell's gone, and we're underway in this title matchup. Wendy driving Spider back into the corner immediately.
She pretended to be another wrestler called the Spider Lady. During the match, Moolah pinned Wendy to the mat, even though Wendy was able to escape her grasp before a 3 count could take place. The referee suspiciously awarded the championship to the Spider Lady on the spot.
It appears that the referee has made a 3 count. And Wendy, the champ, look at that. It is Moolah. Take a look, Jess.
Wendy, realizing she'd been scammed by both Moolah and the World Wrestling Federation, was fuming.
And Wendy's still all over, dishing out punishment. But I believe Wendy Richter has lost the title. Look at, he's presenting the belt to Moolah.
After that match, she left the sport for good. Moolah held on to her title for 2 more years, and then eventually went into retirement. She would occasionally pop back on the scene for a few matches, and remained a fixture in the world of women's wrestling. Moolah passed away in 2007 at the age of 84. Her legacy, already controversial, had gotten darker in recent years. Based on allegations from other wrestlers, she relied on exploitation to stay on top for as long as she did, and often at the cost of other women wrestlers' bodies and careers. Nevertheless, she's an undeniably important part of wrestling history. Regardless of how she got there, she holds the record for the longest continuous reign by any female world champion. All month, we're talking about Adversaries. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Tune in tomorrow for a special bonus episode brought to you by Toyota. Everybody vibes with the all-new Camry. A standard 225 horsepower engine and an available sport-tuned suspension provide the power and agility to take you anywhere, and to do it in style. With available features like the 2-tone midnight black metallic roof, color-matched sport grille, panoramic glass roof, and cockpit red leather trimmed interior, the Camry has never looked better. And because every all-new Camry is a hybrid, it delivers up to an EPA estimated 51 miles per gallon combined. Whatever your vibe, it's a Camry vibe. Learn more at toyota.com/Camry.